Story today, one of the most polarizing guys in the NFL draft. Strengths, flaws, correct fit, et cetera, et cetera. That player is Anthony Richardson, quarterback, Florida. Who our guy behind the glass has gone out on the limb for. Part of his pattern is, I think Khang likes mysterious, undefined quarterback prospects. He did this with Trey Lance. I feel like he did it with somebody else. And now Anthony Richardson.
To make myself look better, maybe say Mahomes or something like that. No, you're right.
I don't have a recollection of that.
I do.
Brad Kaya, right? I think is who he was.
In the 7th round, I said be good value. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I do. I guess you can say that. You know, I always have there's always this door number 2 aspect to it, right, guys?
Yep.
Where you just don't know. It's kind of the unknown, but there's so much there to like possibly, but there's a reason why he wouldn't be the number 1 overall pick. And those reasons may be, you know, something that he can't overcome, player A, right? But, yeah, Anthony Richardson is the guy this year that, I mean, I don't find one every year, but there happens to be one this year, and it's Anthony Richardson. I think he falls in the aspect. I just read, Doug, that scouts are all over the board with this guy, whether it's a 1st-round grade or a 4th-round grade. And what team is going to take that chance at some point? Am I willing to take that chance at 18? Yes. And I'm going to duck because I know right now everyone's hating me. But I think when you have the draft extra draft capital you do this year, and you have your starting quarterback already in place, with his skill set and his possible ceiling, he's the perfect draft and stash quarterback. His ceiling is, I'll go higher, Patrick Mahomes, right? His bottoming out is Andre Ware or whatever, right? Where he maybe plays a little bit, and when he does, it looks terrible, and he's out of the league in a couple years.
Yeah, or Josh Allen, is it comparable to him? Is it Josh Allen and Jamarcus Russell?
As far as ceiling and bottom?
Yeah, it's a little more recent. Yeah. Just wondering, because I was...
That's not bad, yeah.
Here's full disclosure. I loved Jamarcus Russell coming out of LSU. I thought he was amazing.
Did you just say that out loud?
I did. This is the thing. I have a problem evaluating first-round quarterbacks.
Yeah, I was on the Malik Willis train. And I'm still there.
You know, outside of the blatantly obvious, like Trevor Lawrence, you know, or Joe Burrow, it's the next group of guys after the top guy that I struggle with. But is this the same type of thing? I think Richardson has a ton of talent. You can't help but see it. You know it. He's got great size. He's like 6'3", 6'4", 240 pounds, and he's fast. He's mobile. He breaks tackles when he runs. He's got a cannon for an arm. There are games you watch, and he looks unstoppable. And then there are games you watch, and you're like, what the hell was that?
Looks very stoppable.
Right. Like, what are you doing? You just shot yourself in the foot again. For me, if the Lions are looking at him at 18, the only way I look at him at 18 is if I've done my job in free agency and the rest of this offseason leading up to the draft. And that includes like potential trades. If they've gone out and addressed defensive tackle, corner, linebacker, if they've done things like that, or 2 of the 3, and they've done it in a major way, I could consider drafting him at 18, because then it is kind of like that gifted pick that they had that you didn't expect them to have.
Okay, so the story on ESPN that talks about him and talks about the polarizing opinions on him quotes unnamed scouts. So they've got a bunch of different headings. One of them is, why are scouts in love with Richardson's upside? Okay. This is an AFC scout who covers the Southeast, said, quote, I remember the first time I saw that game, meaning the Florida-Utah game. There was so much hype on Richardson coming into that year, you're almost expecting him to struggle to live up to it. Then that happened, and you're like, damn, this dude can play. An NFC scout said, quote, that's what you worry about when defending him. You can put him in these situations where it's impossible, like Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts. You can do everything right as a defense, and he's betting that one-on-one he'll beat your spy defender with his feet. What are teams concerned about? AFC scout. It all goes back to Richardson's accuracy. Trying to fix his accuracy, I'm not sure you can. Everyone wants to talk about Allen this and Allen that, but the fact of the matter is he completed under 55% of his passes, and some of those misses were all-time misses. An AFC scout on Anthony Richardson. First thing I'm going to do is finding out who his private quarterback coach is and asking him what they're doing about his feet. His feet are just all over the place. He can get away with that because his arm is so strong, but the root of his accuracy issues start with his feet. Another AFC scout. There's no way around it. The accuracy is bad. All right, so how do you maximize his potential into an NFL starter? An AFC scout said situation is everything, but he needs to sit and watch and learn. His play really broke down throughout the year because his mechanics are just rough. To me, he's a year 2 player. Who's the best comp for Richardson? Story goes on to say we've already mentioned Fields, Hurts, Allen, but Cam Newton also comes to mind. An NFC scout who covers the SEC said, everyone keeps saying Josh, meaning Allen, and I could see it from the rawness and arm strength comparisons. Richardson's athleticism and build is closer to Cam, though, I think. Next heading is what's his likely draft range? The scout that compared him to Richardson to Newton said, I would feel much better saying he is going in the top 10 than saying he won't go in the top 10.
Cam Newton was really good in college.
Yep.
Can we say the same thing about Richardson?
No.
That's why
you
he
can say the
went.
same thing about Allen. Allen was inaccurate in college.
Yeah, but I mean, when they bring up Cam Newton, I'm not sure that's even appropriate to bring up Cam Newton.
The scout goes on to say, you look at the games, you look at when the game is going, and you see this in every model. Every quarterback has to acclimate and learn, so why not draft a guy who in the meantime can tear up a defense with his legs? Another evaluator echoed those sentiments. I think he goes top 10 all day. The story goes on to say that Anthony Richardson's odds of being the number 1 pick in the draft have actually seen a sizable jump this week at Caesars Sportsbook.
Well, I think talent and skill set wise, he's got top 10 pick written all over him. Inconsistency has 4th round pick written all over him, and that's the issue with scouts. And I go back to this. This is not the finished product. If you're drafting Anthony Richardson just based on how he played last year, don't do it, right? That's not good because he's just not consistent enough. His accuracy issues are just well known. You've read all of them, Doug. But if you believe in Ben Johnson and if you believe in Mark Brunell and you believe in player development, then you believe in like Brian Dable believed in Josh Allen, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have to take that into account whether you can, quote-unquote, fix this guy or get him better. Now, if you don't think he's fixable, do not draft him. But if you see that, hey,
it's just footwork.
Yeah, exactly. If I get his footwork down, this guy could be Mahomes-esque, then I think it's worth, with your 18th pick, because you have that extra pick to draft and stash. No one's saying start him next year.
Right. But there's also a potentially great scenario at place here.
So which teams make the most sense for Richardson? This is the bottom line. A team's front office and coaching staff has to believe it has structure in place to give Richardson a boost in his game. The organization will still need a plan and some patience. The Panthers, with quarterback-friendly coach Frank Reich, could be that home. Said a rival GM, if you give Richardson to Reich and Jim Caldwell, who just signed on there, watch out. I mean, watch out, because with those weapons, he could be dangerous. Story goes on to say there's also Seattle with picks 5 and 20, and the Detroit Lions with 6 and 18. Lions are mentioned. I feel like this, out of all the things they could do, this might be the one that is most controversial. Detroit is in Brad Holmes we trust kind of place right now. But Anthony Richardson, Detroit's name's included as an organization that would be a good fit.